The man who co-founded the company that makes Yankee candles, Oster toaster ovens, and bicycle playing cards is on track to become one of the highest paid executives in the United States. Jarden gave Martin Franklin restricted shares worth about $74 million, putting his total reported pay for 2014 at about $96 million. Jarden, however, recorded this stock award as having no value. Bloomberg's Laura Marcinek joins me now in studio. Laura, how did we find this out?
We found this out because we have an amazing executive compensation team. I have to credit Anders Mellon, Jen Zhao, and Alicia Ritzy for finding this. They went beyond the summary compensation table, which is where people typically look at executive pay in a proxy statement.
And they stop there. They don't dig, right?
Exactly. So they dug, and they found this grant that wasn't accounted for in the summary compensation table, which is pretty uncommon.
Wow, yes, $74 million, no doubt. Why did the company account for this award this way?
Sure. So there's a Financial Accounting Standards Board guidance that says if the performance conditions that are tied to that award are improbable, then they don't have to value it. So they can value it at zero. So Jarden said that these revenue and EPS goals that they set were indeed improbable, allowing them to then value it at zero.
Okay. I don't mean to make light of it, but
no.
$74 million does not seem improbable.
Right.
Talk to us about Jarden. Tell us
Sure.
about the company.
Jarden, you know, at first glance, you don't really recognize it. It's not one of these big companies that's out in the public too much. But
you don't know who we are, but you know what we make.
You know what we make, and it includes Coleman camping gear and bicycle playing cards.
And you've probably seen you see that on your screen. You've probably seen all of those logos at some point.
Exactly. So the Rawlings baseball gear, it's all very familiar brands, and they have tons of them. So they're the type of company that has acquired these brands over time, and they turn them around and make them more profitable.
What do their financials look like right now?
So their financials right now, they have about $8.3 billion in revenue last year, and earnings per share of $2.70, and they're targeting what these improbable goals are. It's $10 billion in revenue and $4 earnings per share. So that's kind of the lay of the land. And by the way, they need to make these goals by 2018.
The performance conditions,
yes.
Are they achievable?
Well, we have a bunch of analysts that say they're achievable and surpassable by the time 2018 rolls around. So that's why this is a little odd. You know, they're setting these goals, they're saying they're improbable, and then we have analysts who follow the company who say, oh my gosh, they'll definitely achieve this, no problem. In fact, the Bloomberg estimate for earnings is already at $4.14 for 2018.
Has the company done this before?
Yes, they have. In 2010, they did the same type of thing. They gave him a big stock award that they valued at zero, saying the awards or the performance conditions were improbable, and then it vested in 2013 after they did achieve those performance goals that they set.
You talked about members of your team who did the digging for this story. I'm looking at our story here on the Bloomberg terminal, and you guys spoke to Ron Bottano. He's a vice president and compensation consultant at Ferrian Advisors, and he said in an email, and I quote, "This grant approach appears to allow a company to skirt the summary compensation table disclosure," and he continued, "It does not strike me as the best practice." Did we hear from Jarden?
We did, and they declined to comment specifically on the specifically on the treatment, the accounting treatment of the award. But they did comment on the long-term aspirational goals that they like to set for their CEOs or for their executives in general to incentivize them, and that's not an uncommon practice, of course, and it's encouraged to tie pay to performance. But the idea of saying something is improbable and therefore valuing that award at zero, that's the more uncommon practice that we're seeing.
We began this by talking about it's not one of those things that you look for at first blush. When you look at the statement, you're really not looking for this. Was there anything that keyed the team that said, you know what, let's dig a little deeper, or was this just they found a needle in a haystack?
You know, if you look in the right places, it's there. There are other tables that disclose this. We have very smart people who know exactly where to look for this type of thing, and they found it, and I have to give them credit for that.